All right, and we are back. Hello there, tea sippers all across the world, honey. I'm back. If you're just tuning in, honey, you're more than happy. I am more than happy, rather. I'm telling you, I'm on fumes. I'm more than happy to have you here. I thank you for your love and your support for us to continue to do what it is that we do. Okay? If you want to join in on the conversation, please feel free to dial in at 347-205-9183. 347-205-9183. The tea room is open. Let me say hi to all of my people over there. Tea sippers, we got Dina68, Pharaoh's Box, Road to Stardom Radio. Hey, Churin. Okay, I see what's going on over there, honey. Yes. So that there is what's happening. So we got a few folks over there. So again, if you're in the tea room, honey, please go on over there and dish your tea responsibly. Thank you. Now let's cut to the chase and get on up in here. As I said in the intro, honey, today I titled today's show "Wet and Wild Wednesday" because we want to get into the whole idea of what the holidays are all about. Now, y'all know it's that time of the year, particularly for those of us who are single and carrying on, and y'all are concentrating on wanting to be booed up. Okay? For those of you who live in sections of the country, like in the Midwest, where there's snow and carrying on, and it gets cold, y'all know I'm from Detroit, so I know all about that. Where you're single and you really want to have time or want to be cuddled up, have cuddle alerts and this, that, and the third. Just like Lenny was just thinking about that 6 in the morning moment. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're going to talk about intimacy in all of its facets. So I'm going to get down and dirty. I'm being cute right now, using words like intimacy or whatever. But we're going to get into this, and we're going to just have an open dialogue about it. So for those of you who feel as though you cannot handle adult material, honey, this is not the show for you. It won't hurt my feelings if you decide to bow out, okay? Because we're going to go there. And who's going to help me go there is my guest. Honey, he's on the marketing team here with Trig Laboratories. Honey, you have seen his face around if you are a part of the LGBT community, because this particular company is the parent company for Wet brand products, and that's a lubrication. Wet lubrications, and y'all seen them at all the prides and this, that, and the other. You've probably, got samples of it. You probably buy it. I know this is one of my products that I use on a religious basis, religiously, because it's a consistent product. However, more than just talk about the product and the product line, we're going to get into what this means, honey, to satisfy your intimacy, your sexual satisfaction, and all of that. So without any further ado, please welcome to Dishing Tea with Big Meats. This is Antonio. So, Antonio, darling, how art thou?
I am wonderful. How are you, darling?
Oh, honey, I am everything, and everything is me, with a special dose, honey, of, oh, my God, I got to make donuts when I finish this conversation.
How are you feeling? I know you weren't doing too well last week. I wanted to make sure you were okay. You had me worried.
Oh, when you're dealing with atrial fibrillation, and for those of you who are not familiar with it, it is... I won't call it a disease, but it's a function where the electrodes of your heart is like short circuit, and your heart goes all aflutter, and it just races and it beats uncontrollably and gets off rhythm. So my heart did that. There is no warning signs. There are no nothing. You just go into it. And from what the doctors had explained to me, that once the heart goes into that rhythm, it likes to be in that rhythm. So there's medication that I have to take, and this, that, and the other, in order to keep my rhythm together. So, yeah, they kept me in the hospital for two days, and it took that, for me to get enough medicine in me to regulate and carry on. And so I'm here.
I guess we won't be playing with any electricity today, then. We won't have any electricity play.
Okay.
Because I know I can do something with a little shocking here and there to, you know, give you a little tap that gives you a little electrical boost.
Oh, well, that's cool, honey. I love it, baby. I love it. Shock me back into rhythm, baby. And we'll do that. Now, you know, but, you know, here it is. Now, what a wonderful segue. Let's go into this because what I want to do first, and let's get all the particulars out the way, you know, explain to everybody your role with Trig Laboratories and a little bit of the history of the company and why, you know, how WET came to be what it is today, because it is, I consider it to be the leading product line out there. Very condom compatible. You know, it stays wet longer. That's what your website is. It stays wet.
Yeah.
It doesn't get cakey and all of that kind of stuff. Explain to us, you know, a little bit of the background and what it is that you do with the company.
Well, you just asked several different questions, but I'll try and break them all down. I basically am the spokesperson of the company, and what that means is I go around from country to country. I go around from city to city. I talk to people about all of our different products, and we do make more than just lubrications. We also make shave creams. We make massage oils. We make all those wonderful things that help you be intimate and lovely in your life. And believe it or not, even, you know, some of my family members, they call me up. I mean, it's really funny. I get a lot of times people go, does your mama know what you do? And I'm like, yes, my mother knows exactly what I do. And she loves our massage oil. She uses it as a skin moisturizer because it's absolutely wonderful on the skin. And we came out with the shave cream because there was some other products that were coming out for the ladies that were talking about things on, you know, keeping their coochie nice and clean and cleaning that up. So we came out with something for the men so they could shave down there and keep everything all nice and soft and smooth and silky. So trust me, once you try everything, you will absolutely love it. And the product line is called Intimo by WET. So you definitely want to check that one out, too. And I'll try and get some samples of that out to you also so that you can try them out for yourself and tell, you know, all the public how much you like it.
Well, get out of here for manscaping and things and
of
all of that. I love this idea of it having a dual purpose for, you know, being a skin moisturizer and this, that, and the other. Now, let's go here with the massage oils and all of that, because a lot of people, when we think intimacy, a lot of folks want to automatically think sex. But here, what we have is a variety of products that sit up there to get you into foreplay, understanding what the body is, what the body does, and it also invites you to take a journey in your sexual experiences. So with the massage oils, what are they flavored? Are they this, are they that? Explain that particular product line, and then I'm going to go into a little bit more specific stuff with that.
Well, the massage oils, we have several of them, and they are scented. And they have wonderful scents that are all about sensuality. They're talking about opening up all those wonderful chakras that you have within yourself that are making you come alive sexually as a person. And again, sexuality doesn't necessarily mean that you're having sex. It's showing that you have an inner beauty. It's showing that you have an inner love for one another. And it's showing the intimacy that you're having with each other. And that's why we also came up with the massage oils. Now, the massage oils are wonderful because we have them in several different scents. And if you go to our website, you can go to stayswetlonger.com, and you will see all the different scents that those come into play. And the reason we have several different scents is because, as I'm sure you know, scents tend to give different memories, and they tend to give different relaxations. So a lot of people will find one that works best for them, and they just fall in love with it. And next thing you know, they're just like, oh, my God, I love that one. It's just the best one in the world for me. And, I have people run up to me all the time and say, oh, my God, it's the most amazing massage oil that I've ever had. I have other friends that also are masseurs. They use them in their practice. And they told me, they said, these are the best massage oils because they don't get sticky. They don't, and that's the main thing about us, our product line. We try and make stuff that doesn't get all sticky, and you have to keep reapplying it. Again, we want you to make sure that you're getting the best value for your buck here.
Okay, right.
As far as wet is concerned, yes, we are Wet is owned by a gay man, and that's why I love the company, number one. I met the owner years ago. And this is probably going to be the gayest thing that's going to come out of my mouth, but we met at a Cher concert. So, so it doesn't get much gayer than that.
Okay.
And he followed the work that I was doing. He saw that I was doing some marketing and some promoting, and he called me up a few years later and said, you know what, I really like what you're doing, and I want you to start doing that for us. And I said, I think the best way that I can do it is if I'm the spokesman for the company, and I will show you what I can do. And after I started showing him what I could do, he just fell in love with it, and we've been getting tons and tons of people calling in and buying the product because of me. And so he's been very happy. I've been very happy. And so that should hopefully answer your question, because I get that question all the time, how did I become the spokesman of the company? But I already had an extensive background in marketing and PR, and I just knew what I could do as far as helping out the company in that way.
Okay. Okay, now let's go here, because this is something that I think I find to be very fascinating, and that is when we talk about sensuality, sexuality, intimacy, there always seems to be a natural gravitation towards understanding women in these particular areas. What is it, or how is it that you introduce this to the male persona, and not just men, because we all know that the gay culture and things tend to be a little bit more forgiving and a little bit more exuberant when it comes to expressing themselves. But when we talk about men as a gender, what is it that you do to help me understand the differences between sexuality, sensuality, and etc. While as you are outlining the product line?
Well, a lot of it is the stuff that I talk about online too. I have on Facebook, I have a group that's called Gay Men Who Believe in Romance. And the reason that I started that group is because I feel that a lot of times in the gay community, people think that being gay is just all about sex. And it's not. I happen to believe that there are a lot of us out there that are into the actual romance of gay love. And I speak with a lot of people about this on a daily basis. I get a lot of people that ask me questions about what they should or should not do, being their first time having their sexual experience. They also ask me a lot of times, are they rushing into certain things? Should they go a little bit slower? And I think that with the advent of the Internet, it has been a wonderful tool that people have used to learn quite a bit about the gay lifestyle in general. But at the same time, I think that it hinders us gay people because we tend to jump into relationships, and we tend to jump into especially a sexual relationship right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very important to take the time to say, okay, let's step back, and where's the romance? Where's the love? Where's this feeling of I'm being appreciated and adored, you know? And I have always said that when I fall in love, I want it to be with somebody that not just loves me and cares about me and all that, because I pretty much can find that anywhere. But I want someone that absolutely adores me and gives me that adoration that I'm looking for.
Okay. So now, that there is going into understanding how one can educate themselves on themselves, basically, you know, as far as understanding love and your self-worth and self-value. But now here we are. Though the company is owned and operated by a gay man, we have another gay man who happens to be the spokesperson. I also know that there is a heterosexual department that is geared towards making sure that our heterosexual counterparts also take full advantage of this. So
Definitely.
In understanding straight men, you know, that this, you know, what is it that what is the message that we go to men? And I'm going here because I always say this. You know, men, when it comes down to intimacy and carrying on, we have tons and tons of classes about how a woman learns her body, how she learns this, how she learns that. You know, she has her Kegel exercises. She's learning that. You know, she get the saran wrap, and she learned how her cooch works and all that. Men don't, men don't have classes like that. All they know is I have a dick, and it's supposed to go in whatever hole is open. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's still very tough for, I think, a lot of straight men to talk about their sexuality. And that's why, yes, we do have a straight section of the website. And we do have other spokespeople. We have actual doctors that will speak with people on these subjects, because a lot of times men feel like if it's more of a medical need, they will talk about it. But what I tend to find is when I go to things like one of the events that I go to is called Fet Fest, which is Fetish Fest. And at Fetish Fest, they talk about everything. They break it all down. If you're into tying a person up, if you're into electrifying each other, if you're into spanking each other, if you're into role play, if you're into any of that, it's all fair game, and you all talk about it openly, honestly, and there's no laughing. It's a very serious matter, because a lot of people really get into their own special fetishes,
Right.
And it's okay. What we try and teach people is that it's okay to have your own special fetish that you get into.
Mm-hmm.
And the wonderful thing, too, is about our company, it's a lot about education, because we get a lot of straight men that will give me the comments, and they go, oh, well, I don't need lubricant because I make my woman wet enough. And the funny thing is, when we sat down and we started talking to women, they admitted to us that they prefer using lubricant. There was about 80% of the women out there that said they wanted to use a lubrication. The problem was only 10% of the straight men out there knew that. So could you imagine if the rest of those men actually went and got themselves some lube and started having some fun? Because there's so many things you can do with that lubrication. We have warming lubrications. We have cooling lubrications. We have water-based. We have silicone-based. There's flavors. there's all sorts of fun things you can do to make it playful. And as you know, especially with straight women, and a lot of our gay men too, it's not necessarily just the sexual act that is the most fun. It's the foreplay. It's the having fun with it and just laughing and being playful and tickling each other and, finding that little special spot that each other really enjoys. And I admit that I consider myself a serial monogamist because I have dated several guys, for long periods of time, and I find is so much better when you've been dating a person for a long time rather than just a quick, how do you do?
Okay.
Because my very first boyfriend, when we met, we were, oh gosh, and this is going to be, really dating myself, but we were still in our teens. And we were still learning what sex was. He was my very first boyfriend, and he was my very first sexual partner. So at the beginning, our sex was decent, but towards the end of our relationship, and we had been together for 6.5 years, by the end, our sexual relationship was mind-blowing. And we didn't break up because the sex was bad and because we had a love loss. We broke up simply because, we were young. We met very, very young in our lives. And we had, careers and things took us our own separate ways. But the sex was always there. And truth be told, years and years later, we still see each other and we still get that little sexual kindle thing that pops up where it's like, oh, I wonder if he remembers how to do that. Or if I wonder if he remembers how to touch my buttons in that way, So it's very important to learn about your partner. And I think a lot of men don't really sit down and talk about that enough. We need to have an open dialogue about these things and not be afraid to say, okay, I don't know everything about sex, and I don't know everything about your body. So let's have fun and just figure this out and play. And that's what our products are here for. They allow you to have that fun, to allow you to just go ahead and play and explore and be yourself, basically.
Okay. Now let's go here because I listen to men and women and this, that, and the third about on many different. When we sit down and have locker room talk, and we get very expressive of this, that, and the other. I have always found that there may have been a cultural disconnect. In your travels and as you're out representing the company, are you finding that there's a cultural disconnect? Just like you said a few moments ago, men may not, they always tend to think, I get my woman wet enough for this, that, and the third. And I know in the African-American culture, that seems to be the thing, that I'm player, big daddy, do-wah-diddy. And, the whole idea of I don't need help, I don't need this, I don't need that, is supposed to be part of our prowess as black men.
Yes, yes. I definitely understand what you're talking about there, because being a mixed man, I can definitely speak upon that. I'm mixed Mexican and black. So, again, I think that helps a lot of people feel comfortable talking to me about certain topics. Also, the fact that I'm a very open gay man. And there's a lot of times where I will set up my little booth, and I'm handing out my samples and I'm talking to people, and you will not believe how many times when I'm at when I'm at a totally gay club and it is a primarily white crowd or Caucasian crowd, excuse me. the guys will just come over and they'll just take them from me where everybody can see it. And they're like, oh, yeah, great. Oh, we love your product, and it's great. There's other times where I will be in places like, say, Philly or D.C. or something, and there's a primarily African-American crowd. If the guys walk over with their friends, they aren't as likely to pick it up. But what will happen is their friends will maybe walk ahead or something, and they'll probably tell their friends, oh, I forgot something, I need to go pick up things. They'll come back to my table by themselves, and then they'll go, oh, let me grab a few of these. And they'll take them on their own. So it's always kind of on the down low. It's always like, oh, yeah, I really love your product, but I don't want to tell people about it. And it's really funny how in the African-American community, we tend to do that. We tend to have a lot of stuff that's on the DL, where it's like, okay, I can't talk about this right now. I'm going to make sure that it's, I'm Mr. Big, I'm Mr. Wonderful. And no, you have to just say, okay, I'm learning just like everybody else,
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And there's nothing wrong with having fun and playing with products.
Okay, now let's go here. With the product line, and I think this here is what might confuse a lot of folks, because we're in a post HIV sexually transmitted infection era, okay?
Yeah.
And now, hell, everything that we do, honey, can cause something, okay? If it ain't causing cancer, it'll kill you, okay?
Exactly.
So, a lot of the stuff that we have here, folks may be afraid of. The differences between water-based and silicone-based. And when they started with the silicone-based lubricants, I know that was right on the heels of silicone breast implants, and when they were leaking and women were going through all of that, and then you got silicone lubricants, and you're talking about someone is going to put this on them and then put this inside of me somewhere. And I think a lot of fear came from that. So how do you guys address that particular issue and explain the differences between water-based and silicone-based lubes?
Well, all of our products are FDA approved, and you don't have to worry about them causing any type of issues with health problems or anything like that. The silicone, basically what that is, it's basically a normal lubricant, and you can ask any doctor. And actually, I talk to a lot of doctors that use our products, and they absolutely love them, because the wonderful thing about the wet brand, especially the silicone-based one, is you don't have to keep reapplying it over and over again. You can also use it, say, like in the hot tub or in the swimming pool or anywhere like that. And the nice thing is it won't wash off until you use soap and water. Okay? And that's really one of the bigger differences. Now, we do have some product lines that are made specifically for women. We do have ones that are called the Naturals line, and they are pH balanced to naturally mimic a woman's vagina. And they come in both styles. They come in water-based and silicone-based. So, again, you can use those and you don't have to worry about them, but they are also paraben-free. So a lot of the women love those. I have a lot of lesbians that come to me, and they tell me that they absolutely love our Naturals line. Now, we came up with two actually, called Uranus. And the reason we came up with this one, the Uranus line is a little bit thicker than our normal line. It's not a lot thicker. It's just a little bit thicker. And the reason this is a little bit thicker is because we know that when you're, say, bottoming, you need to have a little bit more protection down there, something that's a little bit thicker that's going to protect you when you're first being injured, okay? And as you get injured, you know, and the wonderful thing is like, well, let me also talk about our Synergy line, which I love. The Synergy line is one that sometimes confuses people because they go, oh, it's water-based and it's silicone-based, and it's like, how does that happen? Well, we have this wonderful chemistry lab that they came up with, and to be honest, I don't even know how they created it, but it's absolutely fabulous. And it comes in a warming, there's a cooling, and there's also the regular. And those are, the wonderful thing about them is that they will wash out of your sheet. So people always worry about that because they're like, oh, is that going to come out of my sheets? Yes. It will wash out very easily. Okay. And it will wash out of you. Okay. This is not going to be something that's going to stay inside of you forever. And that's one thing that people always talk about. They're like, oh, it's a lubricant and it's going inside of me, and how do I get it out? It comes out just the same way anything else would come out of you. It would naturally get washed out of you. Okay, so it's not something that you have to go, oh, I'm going to have to scrub and use something that's going to break it down. It's just like with soap and water. It's the same thing. Okay?
Okay. All right. So now let's take it here, because again, a lot of people, and I know I'm one of them, okay, I get very carried away with my sexual practices because I consider myself to be an old school freak. And one of the things that I do not like is the taste of lube, okay? If we've applied it and carried on, and you know, we done started fucking and things, and then I decide to go back and want to go taste everything I've just touched, I do not like the taste of lubricants. And with the silicone, that silicone base does not have a taste.
No.
Okay.
It has no taste whatsoever. I can definitely attest to that.
You know, so you know, so. Again, you know, where is it that no, here's the question. The flavored lubes and carried on that are in the line, a lot of folks don't know how to use them. They think that that's just for using them for those who use condoms with oral sex and carried on, and you got the flavor based lube so that you don't taste the latex or the rubber. How does that work? Because if I decide to and engage in oral sex and carrying on, and I got this flavored lube, and I've used it to insert myself into these folks, and I'm trying to be real cute. I don't want to get very graphic just yet, because see, I'm gonna get potty mouth in just a few moments because I feel it. But you know, if we fuck it and I decide to stick it and carrying on, and then want to go back and eat this motherfucker, what is it? You know, can the flavored lubes be used like that, or is it a different consistency? What is? Educate the folks on those differences, because a lot of people think that, okay, if I'm only going to use oral sex, then I need the flavored lube for this. This particular lube is for when I want to be penetrated, and this, that, and the other. The massage oils is for massage. Okay, and so now I done bought 15 different lubes when I may not have to. What's up?
I totally understand. Well, the thing is, what I would advise for a person like that is to get something like our Weekend Love Kit. Our Weekend Love Kit has a bottle of warming. It has a bottle of light, which is our water-based lube. It also has a bottle of our platinum, which is our silicone-based lube, and it also has a bottle of our kiwi strawberry, which is the flavored, and that's also a water-based lube. Now, the reason that the flavored ones are water-based lube is so that they naturally will come off with water. You don't have to use soap and water to get the flavored ones off. So if you are going down there and you say that, okay, I do want to have a little flavor, this is something that you will use more as a foreplay type of thing. And, yes, you can go back and use it in between, but you, of course, will be using your mouth because, again, it's a flavor. So you're using your mouth to get that flavor off of the area that you've put the lubricant onto. Okay, so now that lube is no longer going to be there. That lube is now going to be washed away. And the only thing that's going to be left there is your saliva. Okay, so that's just going to keep everything nice and wet and moist. Again, it's going back to that wetness. We'll always keep everything nice and wet. Okay, so then if you decide, okay, I want to have a really long sexual experience and I don't want to have to keep reapplying, I will use my wet platinum. That's always my favorite. The wet platinum is one where, because I'll admit, I'm one of those guys where it takes me a long time to reach the mountaintop. So I will take the wet platinum and I will put that one on because I don't have to keep reapplying it over and over again, and it never dries out. Now, if you are a bottom that isn't accustomed to bottoming and you need to help get opened up and you want something a little bit thicker, that's when I would say go for the water-based, because the water-based is thicker, and once it goes on, the natural salts in your body will start to break that down, and it will make it thinner as you start to have sexual activity. Okay? So basically what it's going to do is it's going to protect you in the very beginning so that you can get accustomed to your top. And then as the sexual activity starts to wear on and you start to sweat and you start to play, then you will see that actually break down. And you can even do a little experiment at home. And what I would suggest is getting like our Synergy lube. Take a little dab of the Synergy lube, put like a coin-sized portion of it in your hand, rub it around, and then add a little bit of table salt to it. And you'll notice that just with that salt, it naturally starts to break down and get thinner. Well, it's the same thing when you're having sex. As you're having sex, the natural salts in your body, the salts from your sweat, will start to mix with that, and it will make it a little bit thinner so that you can feel more. And that's what we want. We want to make sure that you're being protected at the beginning, but then as the sexual relationship moves forward, you can start to feel a little bit more as you're going forward.
Really?
Yes. So that's why we have so many different types of lube, and that's the funny thing is everybody has their favorite one. Everywhere I go, people come up to me and they say, "Oh, my favorite lube is this one. My favorite lube is that one." And everybody's body is different, and you have to figure out what works for you.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. See, the science behind that, and for those of you who are listening, that may have just been, y'all may say, okay, this is kind of boring or whatever, but the science behind that just threw me, and that just fucked with my brain cells, because to really understand that, wow, to know that I'm floored with that, And just that little piece of a test right there just said everything. I'm like, wow.
Well, thank you, darling. Thank you. Well, that's why I'm here. I'm here to educate, and I do a lot of educating. And it's really funny because I have a lot of people that hit me up online. They think that I'm just going to talk about, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And trust me, I get a lot of people hitting on me online trying to talk about, all kind of sexual things. And then when I start talking to them, they realize that, no, I'm speaking to them in a very clinical way because I want them to know the facts. I'm all about the facts first,
Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to pose a question. I want you to sit on it because I'm going to take a little break. And when we come back from the break, then we'll go into this particular question. And that is, A lot, and you know this to be true. A lot of our gay brothers who happen to be bottom or feminine identified, you know, may want to experiment, you know, and cross lubes, and you know, because they feel it womanly, they go get the natural, so I can really feel like I got a pussy and this, that, and the other. Is there any fault in that, or because you said the naturals line is the pH balance, so that there is specifically geared towards women. So if men were to use these particular lubes as bottoms, is there a fault to that, or does that have any consequences? Don't answer that. Answer it on the flip side of this. We're going to come back in just a few moments because I think this is kind of fascinating. Now, we're listening to this from a clinical side, but we're going to, you know, y'all know me, so just stay tuned, child. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a minute. Egypt, Vidal, Couture, Egypt, Vidal, Couture. Enjoy high fashion with luxurious twist. Step into the future with fresh, innovative couture. Designed by Miss Michi DeVale. Michi DeVale. For more information, contact Michi at 313-996-9807. 313-996-9807. Or go to Facebook and go to facebook.com/Michi DeVale. That's MICHIEEDEVALE. Michi DeVale. Echam Vidal Couture. Trade Day Management and Publicity Firm, an Atlanta-based PR production and management consultancy firm specializing in aggressive publicity and exposure campaigns, artist development, leveraging mutually beneficial relationships, and brokering deal with integrity. At Trade Day Management, enjoy a touch of Southern hospitality with a universal appeal. For all of your public relations and entertainment management needs, contact Travion Davenport at 678-523-3088. That's 678-523-3088, or email at tradedaypr@gmail.com. That's Trade TREADAYPR@gmail.com. Trade Day Management and Publicity Firm. Pharaoh's Treasure Box. Fine art, unique jewelry, and sensational 3D silk floral arrangements. Creations by Taps. For all of your decorative needs, contact Pharaoh's Treasure Box at 248-688-5178 or 5179. Again, that's 248-688-5178 or 5179. Or you can email at Pharaoh's Treasure Box at yahoo.com. That's Pharaoh's Treasure Box, PHAROAHS Treasure Box at yahoo.com. To see the collection or to purchase, go to www.buysellcommunity.com/store/Pharaoh's Box. Again, that's www.buysellcommunity.com/store/Pharaoh's Box, and that's PHAROAHZ Box. Pharaoh's Treasure Box of Detroit, Michigan. Fine art, unique jewelry, and sensational 3D silk floral arrangements. Take yourself and your thoughts to the next level with Above Consciousness clothing. The clothing that not only brings about style and character, but it also raises the bar of consciousness so that we can be a better people, a better community, a better humanity. Whether it is to turn your tickle box over with our whimsical designs or challenge your thoughts and beliefs with our social awareness designs, Above Consciousness clothing is sure to titillate your spirit, tantalize your senses, and rivet your soul. Welcome to the next evolution of fashion, Above Consciousness clothing. For more information, please go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Above Consciousness clothing. Hey there, tea sippers. We're giving it to you the way it's given to us. Fabulously and fierce and never shady or cynical. You're dishing tea with Big Meech right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Okay, and we are back. Okay, if you're just tuning in and wish to come on board, honey, have questions, comments, or concerns about today's topic being wet and wild on this Wednesday, honey, please call in at 347-205-9183. That's 347-205-9183. And we're back here with Antonio, honey, and I was asking, just before the break, child, folks in our community, particularly those who are feminine identified or expression, feminine expressive, within LGBT culture, with the naturals line being a pH balance line for women. There are those of us, honey, who feel as though, child, I am woman, hear me roar, and want to go inside those particular lines, as they're bottoming and this, that, and the other. And is because it's pH balanced to mimic a vagina or a puss, a cooch, to put this in your ass, is it going to have any repercussions?
No, you wouldn't have, because it's not so much so that it's not going to wind up changing your ass into a vagina, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. Though some boys might enjoy that. They love being called saying that they have a little boy pussy, but no, it's not going to do that. You would be fine doing that. But that is more for the females. But you do have to remember that a lot of times the women are using it with men, and it does get onto their skin. So we would never put anything out there that's going to have extra hormones or anything like that in it that would wind up hurting either person. That's never a problem. That's never a problem.
Okay. Now, let's go here. Toys. We're fantasizing, we're exploring. We done brought in dildos, we done brought in butt plugs, we done brought in anal beads, we done brought in all of this, that, and the third. Little vibrating bullets, my favorites, and et cetera. So now, how does again, in wanting to educate folks on sexual health and sexual education and sexual freedom, sexual liberation, what is it that the product line does with toys? And I thought I saw a line where there was toy washes and carrying on with Trig Laboratories to make so that it doesn't break down the toys themselves, because a lot of folks don't know you can't use regular bleach on these things because it'll tear up your shit.
Yes. Well, again, that's several folds. What I would first of all say is when you have toys that you're using, you want to have your own toys. Do not share toys with other people. Unless you're, say, using a dildo and you put a condom on that dildo, then you can, share it, but you'd have to use, of course, separate condoms because you want to have that extra protection between the two. Mm-hmm. Now, if you are using a silicone-based toy, you do not want to use a silicone-based lube. Because
interesting.
silicone lube will break down a silicone toy. So you want to make sure that if you're using, say, a silicone dildo, you want to have a water-based lube that you're using with it, okay? And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think, oh, I'll just use the same silicone lube that I'm always using. And they start to notice that the color starts to change and it starts to, the texture starts to change. And that's because the silicone will break down silicone. So you make sure that always, whenever you're using a silicone product, you are using a water-based lubricant with it, okay? As far as the keep it clean, we created that because when a lot of people were using, and I keep the keep it clean by the side of my bed. And the reason that I do is because what happens is when you're using a silicone-based lube, again, that won't come off until you use soap and water.
Right.
Okay, not just water. Okay, so most people, if you're using a water-based lube, they'll just kind of wipe their hands with a towel or something, and then they'll go and touch the doorknob. And then they'll make the doorknob kind of sticky, but that's okay because the doorknob is sticky. You can still grasp it. But if you're using a silicone-based lube, it's going to make your doorknob slippery. And you're not going to be, your hands are going to keep slipping and sliding all over the place because it's a silicone-based lube. It's not going to come off until you use soap and water. Now, when you use Keep It Clean, it basically makes a little foam that breaks down the silicone-based lube so that you can then go open the door, you can go flush your toilet, you can go do whatever you need to do, and it's not going to wind up all over the place. And I've even used it on my floors because there have been times where, you're having fun with the silicone lube and you have those hardwood floors, and next thing you know, your hardwood floor is like ice skating rink. You're slipping and sliding all over the place, So what I'll do is I'll take the Keep It Clean, I'll put it on the spot where I know where it's extra slippery. It'll break that down, and it'll clean it right off. And it works in your sheets, too. That's the other thing that's really nice that I love about it. So, again, I keep it by the side of my bed so that as soon as I take those sheets off the bed, I just put a little bit of that right on the spot, and then I throw that into the hamper. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to wash it right then and then. I can wash it later, come back, and my sheets still look as good as new.
Oh. Now, is that on any kind of sheets or whatever? Because, folks like to do silk sheets or the polyester blend silk feel sheets and et cetera, et cetera. So does that work on all kinds of fabric or what?
It should work on all types of fabric. Now, if you do have any issues where it's leaving like a light stain, one of my little secrets that I have learned is, I know you probably have seen that product out there called Oxy, where it uses the oxygen. What you can do is take a little bit of that Oxy, make it into a paste, put it right on the stain, and no matter what kind of sheets you have, whether they're silk, whether they're satin, whether they're cotton, whatever, they will come right out. That stain comes right out.
Oh, okay. All righty then. Now, this whole silicone toys equals water base. All right, that there is new for me. I didn't realize that. Now, let me go here and bring up something that hasn't been brought up in a while, and that is the whole idea of spermicides and et cetera, with the lube. Back in the early 90s, early to mid 90s, there was a lube that had this product called nocturnal 9, which was supposed to be a spermicide. It was supposed to kill HIV. It was supposed to do all that. Then years later, we found out that the nocturnal 9 was a big old myth. It really didn't do it. It didn't do none of that, or whatever the case may be. And then it became a big debate because some folks would say, yes, it does. Others would say, no, the science doesn't say this. And now we don't hear of that much anymore. What has Trigg Laboratories concluded on that? Are they involved in that fight, or is that a concern?
Well, we don't have that in any of our product line. And the reason is because originally when that came out, it was more for people that were trying to keep from getting pregnant. And they were saying that, you know, the nocturnal 9 would basically kill the sperm, and it would keep them from getting pregnant. And what they were finding was that it was actually making them more susceptible to things like HIV and you know, things like that. And again, because we are a gay-owned and operated company, we saw that this was a bad thing for people, and we said, no, we do not want to have that in our product line. So we always want to make sure that people are playing safe. And that's why when you see me out, I'm constantly giving out condoms, I'm giving out lubricants. And one of the things that I'm actually working on right now, and we're putting together the final pieces of, is I don't know if you've ever heard of Condemnation, but Condemnation, they're these guys that go around the country in a 16-wheeler truck, and they give out condoms to people across the country. They go to schools, they go to big functions, and they set up their booth, and they give out literally like millions of condoms every year. Well, they have decided that they want wet to be their official lubricant because, of course, they know that we are the best. And
okay.
I came to them and I said, you know, I'd be more than happy to put this together and help you guys out, and I'm more than happy to join you. So you will be seeing me on the 16-wheeler truck later this year, and I will be going and talking to people about our whole product line and telling them about it, all the do's and don'ts, the ins and outs, and you do not have to worry about the nocturnal now. We have definitely not had that in our product line.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, now, let's go here because the idea that, you know, we're still dealing with a lot of folks who are afraid to go and buy this kind of stuff. You know, as long as they're in a sex shop, because we're talking sex or whatever, folks are a little bit more comfortable to pick up the lubrications there. But, you know, I've noticed, like at a Walgreens, you know, and things like that, that some of the product line is on, you know, readily available on shelves. And just like condoms, folks do not know or want to go in to purchase. How do we start the process of making that a part of everyday conversation, a part of, you know, just like I go to the store, get a bottle of milk or a jug of milk or whatever, you know, go get my pain relievers or my aspirins and carry it on. You know, I should be able to go, you know, for my sexual health. Hell, if I'm going to the pharmacy, it's right there under lock and key. You know.
I always say that, you know, if you're old enough to go and if you're old enough to have sex, then you're old enough to buy condoms. And you're old enough to also buy the lubricant that you would play with those condoms. You know, so you should never feel ashamed about it. You should never feel weird about it. You know, just let people know that, hey, I have a healthy sex life, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing. That's why God created us this way. He wanted us to have fun with it, you know. And whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, transgender, whatever, you know, you're supposed to have fun with your sexuality. And I believe that that's very true, and I have no problem with it whatsoever. And, yes, you can find our products in all those stores. We just put together some wonderful deals where you can even go into all the Walmart, CVS's, Targets, everywhere. You can find our products all over the place. So when you go up there and you're buying, like you said, you're buying your aspirin and you're buying your milk and you're buying your condoms, you just put it right there in the cart with it, you know. And I also talk to people about buying the douches, too, because, I mean, that's not something that we make. But I tell my boys all the time, I'm like, get yourself a nice little feet enema and clean it up. Keep it clean, because nobody wants to be down there having some dirty, punani. So
hello.
So get it all at the same time. Put it all together. And every time I've gone into a store and I've gotten it, I've never had anybody look at me weird. Not a single time. Never, never, never.
Okay. All right. Now let's go here. Knowing now that Wet is gay-owned and gay-operated, that was one of my biggest questions. I was like, child, every time I see a prize somewhere, Wet is everywhere. They're always a sponsor. They're always a this. What is Wet's commitment to, or Trig Laboratories' commitment to community involvement and the community well-being? Because there's a lot of philanthropic activities that go on, a lot of sponsorship and things of that nature that WET participates in.
Definitely. Well, WET has always tried to be at the forefront of all of the gay events. We try and make sure that people know that everyone in the gay GLBT community, that we support you, we're here for you, we're created for you, and we're that company that says, okay, we know that you need us, we need you, we love you, we care about you, and you have shown us so much love, we're going to give you that love back. So we definitely, you can go to AIDS Walk, and you're going to see our trash boxes. You're going to go to White Party that's going on this weekend in Miami. You're going to see our trash boxes there. And also in the gift bags, you're going to see, safe-sex kits that are in the gift bags that are going out. We always are there for the gay community. So we do everything that we can to try and spread the word. And whenever there is something, even on the ballot, we're there also trying to help fight for the GLBT community as much as possible. Definitely.
All right. Now, let me ask this, because, again, let me go back to women's health and dealing with lubrications. I want to expand a little bit more on female satisfaction, because we see the product lines all the time. They got this new stuff that's on the TV, the his and hers, and oh my God, when they come together, it's just fabulous, this, that, and the third. And
we make stuff that makes your hair spin.
Exactly. What is those particular things, and why is that becoming such a new phenomenon, if you will? Everybody's looking for the biggest bang nowadays. It's like sex is trying to become new and improved and all of that. So you know what I mean? And because now we're in the age now to where we get bored very easily. We get bored very quickly. We just simply get bored. And so now, everybody's still looking for the mountains to roar and the angels to sing and the mountaintops crumble and all of those kinds of things, when they have sex. And
it's
or at
all
least
about,
be intimate.
It's all about keeping things spicy. That's really all it is. That's all it really is. When it comes down to sex, a lot of people will say, oh, my husband and I, or my boyfriend and I, my girlfriend and I, we've been together for so long, and the sex after a while has started to get boring. We want something to just spice it up. And basically that's why we make so many different products, because we want you to be able to come home and say, hey, baby, look what I have. and then you just kind of spice it up. You say, okay, well, I've never tried that. Let's see what it does. Maybe it gives me like a little tingle. Maybe it gives me like a little cooling experience. Maybe it gives me a warming experience. You know, so there's always a little something there for everybody. And maybe there's a flavor, you know. I even have a lot of women that I speak with, you know, and because I'm going to cross to the other side now, because there are times when I do talk to women that are going through, say, menopause, you know. So when they're going through menopause, they are now saying, okay, well, I'm not feeling as sexual as I used to be, and I'm also not as wet in my vagina as I used to be. So now what do I use? And I can give them things, especially like a naturals line like I was telling you about. You know, I can give them things that will keep them wet for a very long time, something that they can put in every single day, something that they can put in maybe once a week. You know, it just depends upon their preference of what they like to do. And I'm letting them know that just because you're getting older does not mean that your sexuality has to slow down. And sex never has to be boring. It's always going to be fun, no matter what age you're in and no matter how long you've been in a relationship. You can always say, hey, baby, I've come up with something new. It's just like going into a sex club and you say, ooh, what's this? I want to buy a paddle, or I want to buy some anal beads, or I want to buy a costume. You know, this is basically just another costume that you're throwing on there. It's something fun to play with, you know? It's all about having the spice of life, baby. It's all about the spice of life.
Okay. Now, you talked about, you know, when female sexuality is in question. But now let's go here, because I don't know if what has been done, because I know one of the things that I have been working diligently with, and every time I hear symposiums or talking with folks from the CDC about sexual health and sexual education and sexually transmitted infections, you know, being decreased. We are in an age now where a lot of people are dealing with psychotropic medications. They're dealing with different medications for high blood pressure, diabetes, and this, that, and the other, which causes sexual side effects. And in men, that sexual side effect is the level of your erectile dysfunction. And with that and trying to use condoms, they may not be compatible, because after you done just fought so hard to get it up, then trying to fight with the damn condom, it becomes counterproductive. Okay?
Yes.
So what is it, you know, how do you guys address that? Or does that ever come up? I know at the bars it probably doesn't. You know, because a lot of men don't like to talk about it. Men do not like to talk about shit when they have problems and issues. You know,
No, it definitely does come up. Trust me. I probably have had every question you can possibly think of, and that question has come up. I have had older men come up to me and say, you know, do you have something that can help me stay harder longer, or thicker, fuller, that type of thing? And we just came out with a new one, too, that's called Extends. And you can find it, too. It's also called Extends, powered by Wet. And it's a lubricant that also has a little bit of the products in there that help you stay up, as it will be. It keeps you excited.
There is a product line that come on late night television called Extends. Is this in conjunction with that, or is this something separate?
It's something separate, but it's very similar. It's very similar in the way that it works. It's using certain extracts. So it's very natural in the way that it's doing it. So you're not getting a whole lot of chemicals and stuff like that. At the same time, because I know a lot of people also worry about that too. They're like, oh, I don't want a lot of chemicals and things in my system, you know. And I know a lot of guys worry about that when they take a lot of the pills, where the pills come with those warning signs that say if you have an erection that lasts for more than 5 hours or something like that, go see a doctor. These are more things that just more excite you naturally.
Okay. Now let's have a little fun with this. If I were to put, everybody likes with Christmas is coming up, New Year's Eve, and usually New Year's Eve is the time that's one time of the year, honey, that everybody plan on having sex. If it's not your birthday, it's New Year's Eve. Okay?
Most definitely.
Those are 2 days out of the year that everyone plans.
You want to get some sex at the same time. I hear you.
Exactly. So, gift choices and gift bags and this, that, and the other. There was a photo, and I was looking for this particular photo because actually I wanted that basket. It was a great big old huge cornucopia-style basket that had just everything in it, big old pump size. I was like, damn it, I want that basket, honey. And looking at it, quite easily, it could have been maybe like a $5,000 basket, However, I wanted it.
I hear you. I hear you, darling.
So, in wanting to have fun, bridal showers and stuff, and folks they used to, back in the day, folks would give dildos and carry on as gag gifts or whatever. But now, we've gotten into a place where the sexy lingerie and those kinds of things have become a part of culture and a part of the experience. Okay, girl, you finna get married or whatever, or this would be cute for a birthday gift, or this would be cute. What would you recommend as far as creating a basket of products or whatever that will enhance and stimulate the thing? Hell, in a few months it'll be Valentine's Day, so you got the lovers' baskets and all of that. How would you do all
Definitely. That? Well, we have several different baskets that we sell out to our distributors. Now you have to remember that we are the main company that produces this line. So we don't sell a lot of our products ourselves on our website. So we have distributors that buy our products, and they sell them online. They sell them in the sex stores. They sell them in CVS and everywhere else. But we do have small baskets. We have large baskets. We even have like a little bucket that has a little bit of lube. It has a little bit of massage oil, and then also some chocolate that you can put together. So it makes it just like a fun little night out. And basically what I do is I say mix and match it. My thing is what I like to do is I will go, like, if because at the moment I'm single, so I'm putting it out there just in case everybody wants to hit me up. Before, when I do have my little fun times, I will go into a little sex store, and I'll get a nice little lubricant. I'll buy the massage oil. I'll also throw in there things like the honey dust, the chocolates, some wine. I'll put it all together in a basket and say, baby, this is for you, this is for Valentine's Day or something, and we're just going to have a lot of fun. So a lot of times creating your own basket to me is a lot more fun and makes it a lot more personal. But we do have certain ones that, you can buy that are already pre-made.
Okay. This question just hit me. Okay, how do you combat? Now, we talking about love. Okay, yes, we use the lubrication and carrying on to make everything a little bit more, easier for penetration. Make you staying lubricated longer. But what do you do with the dreaded overlube? Sometimes folks just get too damn wet, and in the efforts of having fun, you keep sliding out. You done broke your stride. You done did, you know. You know what I'm saying? You done got that damn good rhythm going, and all of a sudden everything just done got too wet. And this, that, and third. So what? Explain that. What do you recommend? Keep the tissues by you. You're talking about to keep it clean and whatever. So what? Talk to me.
That's where to keep it clean. If you're using a silicone-based lube, if you're using a silicone-based lube, you would need something like Keep It Clean next to the bed, so that it will actually break down the lubricant, and you can take some of it off. If you are using a water-based lube, you can do something as simple as just, you can just spit on it and use water to break it down. And usually after a while, it will start to get a little bit thicker, and you won't have to worry about the cleanup so bad. I usually, myself, I keep a few towels by the side of the bed so that if I maybe put too much lubricant, I can just wipe it up and, take it off. So none of these you should never really have a problem where you're using too much lube. We like to make sure that you have as much lubricant as possible, and you're keeping it nice and slick. I've rarely come into the situation where somebody has said I have too much lubricant. Unless they're a top and they're saying they want to feel more. And I have had that happen before, where I've had certain tops that have said, "Oh, well, I don't like using a lubricant because I want to be able to feel every inch of my bottom's, anus area." And that's when I say, okay, well, then you need to use something like our light formula, where it's something that's a lot thinner, so you'd be able to feel as much as possible, and you just use a little bit. So a little dab will do you, just a little dab. Don't go and throw the whole bottle.
Okay. Now, interesting. I've done this when I was down to like that last little corner. When I won't say a corner, maybe about an eighth of an inch of the bottle, and I wanted to stretch it
into the penis. But go ahead.
No, the eighth of an inch of a bottle, where I'm down to the last little bits of lube, because I was not paying attention, didn't go get a new whatever, and I needed to stretch it, and because it was water-based, I added water to it and shook it up so that I could have a little bit more lube. Is that recommended on a water-based lube?
You can do that, but it will wind up breaking the lube down, so it's going to be thinner. So basically, all you did right there is you thinned out the lubricant.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's not going to help keep things protected, and it's not going to help give you that slickness. What you're doing is you're making it so it's not going to last as long. You want to get some of that moisture out of there, basically.
Interesting. Okay, well, that explains. Okay, so what is that on a water-based lube? And once you start in, and the friction between the sexual friction, what is that gunkiness? Because once it starts to get sticky or whatever, I'm like, okay, why does that do that? Is it because the moisture doesn't evaporate it out? Is it the salt from the body? What is that?
Yes, it's basically a combination of that. The air is now hitting that lubricant, and so it's drying out. And also when you're having sex, and like I said, when you're having those natural sweat in your body, those natural salts are starting to break down that lubricant, and that will make it start to gum up a little bit. So that's why I prefer the silicone base, because you will never have to worry about that. It always stays silky smooth. And no matter how long you go,
you can just keep going and going and going, and especially when you're using the Synergy line. And if you haven't used the Synergy line yet, I'm telling you, you are going to absolutely love it, because by the time you finish having sex, you don't even feel like you have a bunch of lube on your body anymore. It just feels like you just put on moisturizer. It leaves your skin feeling so soft and really nice. You're gonna absolutely love it. It's really, next to the platinum, it's my favorite.
Okay. Now, a lot of the stuff that we've talked about have been partner related. What about those who are solo? I'm taking matters into my own hands, pun intended. Okay.
Well, again, if you're taking matters into your own hands, you want to have a long session. Say you watch a lot of porn, because with the internet, there's a lot of free porn out there. There's a lot of stuff that will keep you entertained for hours on end. And I would recommend definitely using a silicone-based lube, because, again, you don't have to keep reapplying it. The problem that some people will face is, especially if you're dealing with, going a little old school and you have the DVDs, the DVD will start to slip and slide out of your hand and stuff like that. So you're going to have to use something like Keep It Clean or something to wash your hands with to get the lubricant off of your hands before you start picking up DVDs and stuff like that. But if you're sitting at the computer and you're tapping away, you can have one hand lubricated and the other hand not, so you can be typing with one hand and kind of, stroking with the other. That's usually what I tell people to do.
Oh, okay. Well.
And also, again, if you are going to try and use, say, a butt plug or a dildo that is silicone-based, make sure you reach for the water-based lube if it is a silicone-based toy that you're playing with. Now, if you have a glass toy or something that's made out of, like, Pyrex, that's totally fine. And also, if you're using leather or if you're using latex, you can put the silicone on there, and it's going to shine it up so well, it'll shine like the top of the Chrysler Building. You're going to love it. It's the most wonderful thing in the world. I have a lot of my friends that are in the leather community. They come to me and they say, "Oh my God, I love your wet platinum, because I can put that on my leather and it just shines it up, and then I don't have to keep reapplying it. And it even waterproofs it. It makes it really nice."
Oh, okay. Yes, because I just came across something that, I think you touched on it with these workshops that they have, as far as partnering with the workshops and talking about how to introduce BDSM into your love life and carrying on and this, that, and the third. So, I applaud you guys for taking on and embracing all facets of LGBT culture, because that's something that we don't look at. Now, I don't know. I'm going to ask this question because as a member of the big boy community, and those of us who are over 350 pounds, or let me say 250, I'll start there, and bigger. Okay.
250 and go up, all right.
I'm sure that this is not an issue as far as a lube better, or it becomes down to personal preference. But just for shits and giggles, dealing with this community, have WET looked into going into talking with the big boy community, or is it all just one and the same, and it's just about sexual expression?
It's really about sexual expression, and I have spoken with a lot of bears. I have spoken with a lot of big boys. When I used to live in West Hollywood, one of my neighbors, believe it or not, one of my neighbors. Okay, let me back this up a bit. When I lived in West Hollywood, I lived in a place that basically was like a gay Melrose Place. It was the most amazing apartment building, because everybody there was gay. And we had a pool, and the pool parties would just get wild and crazy, and we would have a really good time. One of my neighbors, he was what I would consider a bear. He was at least a good 250-plus pounds, and he had tons of little boys that just loved him. They were muscle boys, muscle queens. He had the twinks. He had everybody just adored him. And it was because he had the most amazing personality. He had a sexuality and a sensuality about him that, was just undeniable. And when he threw a party, everybody was there. So
right.
all around the pool, and there were times where they even filmed porn around my pool.
Oh.
And I would provide the lube. I would go, hey, guys, I have the lube. Come on and check it out. And I would come down, and everybody, again, has their own personal preference. It really depends on what you like as a person. Some people say that they like the thickness of the water base and also the fact that it washes off really easily. Others say, no, I like something that lasts longer, and I like the silkiness of the silicone base. And, again, that's why we created the hybrids so that you can put them all together. And I talk about all that on my website. If you go to facebook.com/thewetguy, I talk about that, and I also talk about that on my YouTube page, which is facebook.com/wetplatinumman. So you can ask me all those questions, and I do not mind answering any of those questions about the products.
Okay.
And I see one of your friends mention on here that they love the honey dust. And I have to say, I love honey dust too, Pharaoh. That stuff is amazing. It tastes so good. And when you want to do a little bit of playtime with that and a little foreplay, it's one of the best things on the market. And the nice thing about it is that when after you use it, it kind of smells like perfume. So people don't even know that you've been playing with a toy, And it comes with a little feather duster, so you can kind of tickle and titillate each other. It's awesome. So if you haven't checked out Honey Dust, and again, that's not even one of my products, but I'm telling you, if you haven't tried it, check it out. That's a good one to play with.
Oh, a fit for a pharaoh. Shut up, boy.
It's definitely fit for a pharaoh. I hear you, baby. I'm looking at you. I'm reading your comments, baby. It's all good.
Okay. Well, okay. So now give me everybody your Facebook again and all of them. Put it over here in the tea room. We got stayswetlonger.com.
Yes, you can. If you go to stayswetlonger.com, and what you want to do is at the bottom of the page, you're going to see a bunch of different links. It'll say links, support, newsletters, social, and then LGBT. If you click on the LGBT, that will give you all of my links right there. So you can go to facebook.com/thewetguy. You can also go to twitter.com/wetplatinumman. You can also go to googleplus.to/wetplatinumman. You can also go to youtube.com/user/wetplatinumman. So you can find us everywhere. I'm all over the web. It doesn't matter where you go. Every social media place you want to be at, I'm there, and I'm talking to everybody about these things. And the reason that I do it is because when I was first coming out of the closet, nobody was there to tell me about this kind of stuff. Nobody sat down and told me about topping, for the first time, and bottoming for the first time, and what I needed to do. So that's why I put this stuff together. And you won't believe how many people hit me up online and ask me questions about this all the time, especially people from other countries, because here in the United States, of course, we're able to talk about a lot of these things openly and honestly and, not have a problem talking about it, except for a few little Bible beaters that might come and try and, chase us down. But in other countries, they can't even say that they're gay, So instead what they do is they hit me up online and they say, can you tell me about this? And I kept getting a lot of those questions over and over again, so much that I started making videos about them. So that's why on Twitter, you can find me on Twitter and YouTube and see my videos where I talk about all of these topics, because I want to make sure that when people are doing things for the first time, they don't do something that turns them off to where they say, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Because the first time I bottomed, it hurt so bad, I was like, I'm never bottoming again. But then later, I learned the joys of bottoming, and I was like, oh, my God, this is wonderful. This is pleasurable. This is amazing. But I needed the right teacher. I needed the right person to be there with me to teach me about it, to be patient and loving and caring and tender, So, again, if you want to learn about any of that, if you want to ask any questions, feel free to hit me up, and I'll be able to talk to you about it all day, all night.
Well, all right for all day and all night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, baby. I go all day and all night. With the Red Platinum, I go all night, baby.
You are so stupid. Well, okay, I'm going to let you get back to your day, because that there is everything that we need. Ladies, for those of you, I'm going to put this out there too. I'm going to, if you have questions, for those of you who are exploring with your husbands, your man, or whatever, and you done found out that anal sex is something that he's into, we are in a culture now where women, and I'm going to say this, and I may get dinged for this, but who cares? Okay. A lot of what's going on, and y'all know I'm real. A lot of things that's going on, with the whole explosion of this, that, and the third. A lot of women are feeling as though they have to compete with gay men because they quote unquote are losing their men, and et cetera. So a lot of them now are willing to experiment and having anal sex and this, that, and the other, and coming across this for the first time. So if you have those particular kinds of questions, please feel free to shoot those questions as well. This is not about being embarrassed or whatever.
Definitely.
This is all about understanding, how to enjoy yourself. And then, now see, here's for my straight men. For those of you who are willing to learn to explore your bodies, there's nothing about, there's nothing gay about you because you happen to like a finger in your ass. Okay.
Exactly.
There's nothing gay about that. Hell, that's what it's there for. It is, there's sensations down there that men get uncomfortable with because, the whole masculine, machismo thing. And that's where a lot of this stuff breaks down, because men, like I said earlier, men have never been taught to explore their bodies. All they know is, I got a dick, I'm supposed to put it in a hole. They don't know about their inner thighs being sensitive, the back of their knees, or whatever the case may be. They don't know about all that.
Very true, very true.
So,
and it's all about exploring your sexuality and realizing that it's all just fun. And as long as you and your partner are happy, that's all that matters. Don't worry about what other people think.
Exactly. And what a wonderful way to end that. So, Antonio, thank you so much, darling, for coming on and for giving us the 411 on that, honey. All right. I love it when I learn something
Thank you for having
new,
me.
honey. Okay, the salt, honey. Get the silicone-based lubricants, honey, for those of you who are into that, who sweat a lot, honey. It's the salt, child, that's going to sit up there and get that floored me, honey. But if you got silicone toys, water-based lubricant. Silicone toys, water-based lubricant. I mean, that needs to be a song. Tell Tony to do that. You know who I'm talking about.
I will tell Tony to create a song about that. I'm sure he would love to.
Okay. So on that note, baby, thank you so much for dishing your tea. And let me say publicly, you guys, y'all heard the commercial here for Trig Laboratories. And Trig is one of our sponsors. Antonio came through for me and had we did a for Black Gay Pride here in Atlanta. I did a giveaway and did safer sex little joy bags or whatever for a few folks. It was like 5 lucky winners or however I termed it at the time. And Wet came through for me, so I made them an honorary sponsor. And so since then, I've just kept them there in sponsorship mode because of what they do with the community and carrying on. So I just want to go public and say thank you for being a sponsor with Dishing Tea with Big Meats. I'm looking forward to our partnership growing and doing more in the future as we continue to educate folks on their sexual health, sexual well-being, and sexual satisfaction.
Thank you, baby. Anytime. We will be more than happy to do anything with you. We love what you're doing. So keep it up. Keep talking. That's the main thing you have to do. Just keep talking, baby, and we'll keep listening.
Okay. Well, thank you, Sugar. All right. Let me get you back to your day, honey, because like I told you, I gotta go make donuts, child, pretty soon. So
all right, baby. You have a good one, and have a happy
too.
Thanksgiving Eve to you.
All right. Gobble, gobble, cluck, cluck.
Gobble, gobble. Use
all right,
that. Use that flavor with the gobble gobble.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, honey. You've been dishing tea, honey. And I hope this was educational for you and things of that nature. You know, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, we have put everything in the chat room, honey, and you can find out more information. Come to the archives. Let me do a special shout-out for one of my other sponsors, Pharaoh's Treasure Box, who's going to be appearing on, if you're in the Detroit area, TV 33. He will be appearing there, and you can find out more about Pharaoh's Treasure Box and see some of the new artwork that he's coming out with. So yeah, make sure you check your local listings there, or find him online and get the program there. This is TV 33 WHPR in Detroit, Michigan. So yes, I love it. I love it. So with that in mind, honey, you may finish all of your crumpets, honey, because the tea has been dished. And you've been dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meats. If you love me, tell a friend. If you hate me, tell an enemy, honey. But do know there's one way, shape, style, form, or fashion this thing will move forward, okay? Until we meet again, my darling, thank you so much. And I will talk to you next time. And next week, I'll be bringing on, she's been singing with Patti LaBelle as the background singer for the last 9-10 years. And she has a budding solo career, honey, that is going to just knock your socks off. This girl sings her face in. Her name is Mary Griffin. She'll be with us next week. So please tune in, and we'll go forward. So, honey, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And eat all that you can, honey, without you becoming the turkey. Say that. I'll talk with you soon, sugars. Bye-bye.